Okay, so I'm going to show you how to sew a Coptic stitch. This is assuming that you already have your holes punched, your paper cut, measured, and you're ready to get started sewing. So, you're going to start by taking your thread, which has the loop at the end, and start whichever side of the signature that your dominant hand is. So if you're right-handed, start on the right hand side. I go from the outside inward, and so do you, because this is the way you do it. You always want to pull the string along the length of the spine, not towards you, because if you pull it perpendicular to the paper, it will rip, and you want to avoid that. Okay, now this, you're going to create a loop similar to this one. You want to create another loop in the middle hole that's going to connect it to the second signature. So you go in from the inside towards the outside to get your string out, and then you go in through the same hole from the outside towards the inside until you get this nice little loop. You don't want a giant loop, but you want a loop that's going to stay there as you sew through the next couple of holes. When your string's long, it wants to catch on everything, so pull slowly so you don't end up tearing your paper. There you go. Now don't worry about the slack here. You don't want slack in your book, but you still have those big loops that will get tightened. Now remember to flip your paper to the right orientation so that your carefully made holes don't get all wonky. Now go from the outside in. Now go from the inside of the middle hole to the outside and go through the loop. So here we're going through the loop. Be careful with all the loose ends. Okay, now pull along the length of the spine to tighten it a little bit, the inside of the second signature, and then take the loop of the first hole you sewed through and pull spine lengthwise along the length of the spine until you've tightened the middle loop. Should look like that. Okay. Now you go. Make sure to keep your strings tight on the first and second signature. Now you go back in through the same hole, middle hole, pull taut, and then go from the inside outside on the right hand hole. At this point you can tie a square knot here so that you have two attached signatures. And I double knot this stuff because I'm a little paranoid. Since the thread is waxed, it can come undone, and I'm not a master knotter. There are mind-boggling number of knots that people use, make them impervious to radiation, squirrels, magic knots. I'm not a magic knot tire, so I double knot. Now, your two signatures should be connected. All three hinges should be connected It's really nice. Yay! Look to make sure that your thread isn't really loose. There you go. Technically, this is already a book. It's a Coptic book. I'm going to do 4 signatures because that will show you how to do every step that you need to complete a Coptic book. And yeah, so yay, you finished your first book. Now add more signatures. Again, from the outside in. Always pull the string along the spine, not towards you. Go from the inside out. Ooh. Okay, this is a perfect example of why I tell you to always flip your pages the same way. I think I did not do this, and because of that, my holes aren't lining up properly, so I'm just pulling my string out. See? Here. Make sure your holes line up before you start sewing. So yeah. La da 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 da. Outside in, out through the middle hole. And now this is a little different, this step right here. Once you're out through the middle, you've pulled taut, the direction that the string is, which is right now, it's my left hand, you're going to go from the left side of the middle braid in between the first and second signatures. So see there? I'm going in there. I'm opening up the book where the needle is. I'm taking the needle, wrapping it around. So I'm just going through the other side of the braid. So there, I've wrapped it around. And now I'm going in through the middle hole again. And out through here, and this step is also a little different than you've been doing. Now to connect these, right now you see they're not connected. You go from the outside in between the first and second signature and around that until you have linked them. See? Now you want to keep pulling your string taut so that you don't have too much looseness, because that will make a difference in the quality of your Coptic, is how loose the hinges are. You don't want giant gaps. And here you go. Now one more signature. Again, I flipped it to the right side, making sure the holes line up. Go from the outside in. Middle, inside, towards the outside. Going in between the second and third this time on the right side, wrapping it around the braid, out around the braid, and there we go. Now we go back in through the same hole. We've now just connected. Look at our braid, it should be consistent. And you're going to go in between second and third from the outside. voila! Those are all the steps you need to know to complete a Coptic book. When you're done, you can just tie it off and clip off the excess. I'm going to continue adding the other 6 signatures I have, and probably adding a paper slipcover or hardcover. And you can really do whatever you want with this little book. So, happy bookmaking, y'all. Bye-bye.